Good afternoon, everyone. I want to thank you for joining us for our HP Intel webinar. We have a lot of great information for you. First, I want to introduce myself. I am Shawnice Hart. I am the sales manager, HP sales manager here at D&H. A few things I want to go over before we get started, and Jerry delivers a lot of great information to you. Just some housekeeping rules. If you have any questions as we go through this presentation, please make sure to drop them in the Q&A box. I will try to answer some as the webinar is going on. We will also have a Q&A at the end and answer as many as we can, depending on the time that we have allowed. If you have any questions that you don't feel like dropping in the Q&A and you still want answers, you can always email us at hpi at dnh.com, and we can get those answered for you. So with that being said, Jerry, if you want to kick this off.
Thank you so much, Shawnice. And folks, thanks for joining. I know everybody's time is very valuable. There's a lot going on. So appreciate you joining here to learn. I think you'll be very excited to understand on what's going on with HP Workstations powered by Intel. So my name is Jerry Lampe. On the slide, you can see my email address there if you need to reach out to me. I'm on the HP Intel Alliance team. I'm dedicated to the workstation business. So I make sure I work with the HP Workstation team, of course. I work with Intel, of course, and then our channel partners, from distributors to the reseller community. So I am a primary resource for you to reach out if you have any questions about the HP Intel solutions. Here to help. And to kind of kick it off, I want to make sure to get, build some excitement. And so let's hope and cross your fingers that this video is going to work for you guys.
Space, the great unknown, a vast expanse of nothingness that stretches far.
Actually, we're getting to know this place pretty well. Today, space is where we go to work. Out here, we're experimenting, analyzing, and building incredible things. This is the kind of work that just can't be done on Earth. Okay, back to you. You sound great.
Voyaging into the void, all connection to home severed, never-ending hours and days, occupied only with the sun.
Okay, I'm certainly not staring out of the window. I'm here to work. Being in space lets us find new ways of purifying drinking water and collect data that helps predict hurricanes and treat cancer. And even from way out here, I'm always in touch with everyone back on Earth.
Humanity returns to the moon, triumphant, to plant the flag.
It's more than a flag. Going back to the moon is about something much bigger. The plan is to build a power plant that's going to help us live and work on Mars someday soon. And that is going to open a whole new chapter in human history.
We go to space in pursuit of humanity's greatest work, in humanity's greatest workplace, with humanity's longest commute.
Yeah, but you're in a rocket.
Okay. Well, I hope you guys heard that. If you were not able to, that video and a couple more videos, along with some assets, are available right on hp.com's workstation microsite, and it tells the amazing story of the partnership with HP and NASA. If you might have joined one of my webinars on here before with D&H, I have kind of told that story that there are 35 ZBook Furies that's up in the International Space Station. Last October was the latest launch, and I just think it's a cool story, and it's kind of going to talk about the spirit of why HP Workstations powered by Intel is important. It's what value it's what customers value, especially if you talk about truly mission control workflows and the importance of mission control. So it's just a nice little factoid. And then of course, not just the ZBooks, our high-end ZBooks that's out in the space station, but just like any organization, right? There's little pockets of opportunities to position HP Workstations. And here's just a few examples, again, all powered by Intel processors that are well trusted. Of course, NASA does their homework, and out of every OEM that they could choose from, any processor and solutions. They chose Intel. So across the board on engineering department, their research and AI, of course, and then most importantly, mission control. So everything's nicely safe. So it's a great story, and I think it just speaks volumes. So before I go into the workstation and kind of the what's exciting for 2026 to close the year and into 2027, let's take a little poll here. I'm very interested in the level of your knowledge, but just in general in workstation. So let's take a minute, if you don't mind, just answering your level of comfort level of understanding workstation market and solutions. And we'll give it a good 50 seconds or so to let folks answer in. That'll allow me to kind of go see how deep dive I need to be. And then of course, as you're answering these, if you're, as always, reach out to D&H team. If you're interested in knowing more, learning more, just one-on-one with your respective partner or your end customers, we're here to help go in a little more deeper dive with your opportunities. And of course, if you're an expert, maybe next time you're going to be here presenting, and I'll be in your shoes and kind of listen to understand what you guys know. So if you're an expert, that's awesome. Love it. And right now we're about 40%, so we'll just give it more time. We'll get some people to chance to answer. So I'm going to go ahead and see. We have about 50% participation here. There will be another poll question a little bit later, but as we get more, please answer. Feel free, like you said, type any questions that you might have. So very good understanding. About half of you guys, great understanding. No one's an expert, so that's good. Keeps my job safe, and love to have you guys interested in learning more. So, okay, that's good. That allows me to kind of understand how deep to go. So let's talk about Intel in the workstation industry first. Well respected. I gave you the example with NASA. It really comes down to the word the trusted platform. There's a lot of competition out there, and we applaud it. Intel applauds that. It's pushed really Intel in a new direction to be more innovative. And that's what I'll show with you guys a little bit later on what are some of those differentiators. But just like with HP and our partnership with HP, it's been it's been a partnership of years in the making. We come out with great solutions, always will be a trusted partner with HP and Intel together. We also, with HP Z Workstations, it shares a lot of the same DNA. What makes Intel the trusted company for their workstation compute, advanced computing. It's all about the performance and scalability. So I'll give you some of those examples with the new Panther Lake G2i and some other solutions. The data integrity, the system reliability, again, that's why, for example, NASA is choosing HP Intel solutions. Advanced computing, the new Intel Xeon, now we're talking a little bit more the Xeon, and there's a new Xeon 600 that's out and available on some new high-end desktop platforms from HP. But again, it's a solution from everybody, whether you're just kind of a power user all the way up to an AI developer, or you're developing the next big hit movie, and you need that production with media and entertainment. And of course, we worked with softwares. As if you're not aware with HP and the workstations, the value of a workstation, it's all about that ISV, that software and the certification. And no doubt Intel is there. They've been there for many years. The reliability of their drivers, whether it's the integrated graphics, or of course, if you want to pair that up with a discrete graphics from NVIDIA. Manageability and deployment. Intel vPro is definitely an option on whether it's a mobile workstation CPU, in the Intel Core Ultra, or all the way up through the Xeon stack. So vPro is definitely a choice if your customers value vPro. If they don't need the value of the vPro, then there's some opportunities to save as well. So we don't just require you to buy the vPro CPUs. You have options. So you'll understand, and we're going to hit on some of these solutions and some of the markets, and hopefully the takeaway from here is you'll have a better understanding on, out of all the workstation opportunities out there, I'm going to give you a few kind of where to really zero in on based on the market size. So what's also important, guys, it's already August here in 2026. I can't believe it. It is going fast. But you've probably been on a few webinars here with Intel or HP talking about their Intel Core Ultra, the Panther Lake, the new G2Is. So we're going to touch on that, but it's been a journey with all the things going on with supply, the transition from Arrow Lake to Panther Lake, what's going on with the products, what's coming out next in 2027. So we'll get into that a little bit. But the takeaway here, guys, is it's kind of a mixed bag with the Intel solutions with HP Z workstations. You're going to have platforms that are continuing, so there are no new gen. And that's the on the entry desktop workstations, the Z1, Z2, and then our very high-end mobile workstation, that ZBook Fury, that's up in the space station. So that Fury, we'll talk about we'll go through the portfolio, but that's going to be consistent all the way through 2026 and early 2027. So no changes there. And now in terms of what we're going to talk about here and make sure you're comfortable at the end of this call and this webinar and solution is the new G2Is on the mobile workstation, the ZBook 8 and ZBook X. And then Intel Xeon, I mentioned a little bit about that. That's kind of that pinnacle of the pyramid in terms of advanced workflows, advanced systems, AI development. That's new on the Z4 and the Z8 Fury, the G6i version. So, and for today, I'm going to talk about really what the volume opportunities. I'll give you a little snippet about the value of Intel Xeon and where the opportunities lie. But the meat of this presentation is going to be for you guys to immediately take this information and start discussing, with your teams and your customers, new opportunities on the volume products. So real quick, in terms of that portfolio, we'll cover the mobile workstations first. This is a left to right, it's the 2D, it's the low end part of that workflow is the entry step up into the Z workstations with the ZBook 8, with the G2i. Availability, by the way, through D&H and through HP. The G1i Arrow Lake, it's kind of, we're in that, there's some great opportunities actually right now that D&H has for Channel Express SKUs, Smart Buy SKUs that are stocked. HP actually just effective August, the month of August, there's some new rebates that come out, so that will impact your price. So there's been an actually drop in price that's available on some of those SKUs. So get those and take advantage of the G1i, both on the ZBook 8 and the X, and some Z2 and Z1s as well. Take advantage of that new pricing. Reach out to your D&H rep for more information on those specific models that I'm talking about. But other than that, in terms of large deal opportunities and thinking forward, really, I recommend that you start to lead with the time to market, the G2i with the Panther Lake. So that's the Intel Core Ultra 300 series, both in U and H on the ZBook 8, 14, and 16 inch. No changes there. As you move up the stack into a little bit more complex of a workflow in use cases, it's ZBook X. That's my recommendation where you have a workstation customer. I always recommend for the mobile solution, start with the ZBook X, G2i, and then you can sell down or up from there, depending on some of the discovery questions. So that's our Intel Core Ultra as well, 300 series or the Panther Lake, G2i. And then G1i and the ZBook Fury, that's that if they want that desktop performance, but they need it in the mobile. They're road warriors, they're in the field. They need to move around internally within the office even. The ZBook Fury is a great solution there. So it's kind of that best of both worlds, even standardized maybe if you can. If they're used to desktop, you can shove a lot of high-end graphics from NVIDIA in the ZBook Fury. The ZBook X-G2 has also been upgraded. There's some now, I think, a 3000 level NVIDIA RTX Pro card that you could put in the ZBook X-G2i 16 inch. So all of these offer discrete NVIDIA graphics. If your customer values that discrete graphics, they can only go with the Intel solutions through HPZ. You can't get that on the AMD versions. That's just all integrated graphics. And the one thing I'm going to really talk about, speaking of integrated graphics, is with Panther Lake, is there's been a huge improvement on the GPU that's on the chip. So again, the Panther Lake, if you're not aware, the architecture includes on that chip CPU, NPU, a lot of improvements, of course, with AI. Now supports Copilot Plus PC. And then, of course, the GPU has been improved. And there's cost savings to that. And so I'll touch on that. It's going to be a big topic today, is where the opportunities are with that integrated graphics. And more importantly, how to understand the new stack. How do I look for those integrated graphics as you're positioning those? So we'll go through and educate each other on that. The desktop workstations. So don't forget about our friends, the desktop. We have those all the way from entry and Z1. So that's a nice way to kind of lead with Z on the entry desktop. It is a tower. A lot of folks like the Z1 because there is, believe it or not, customers that like the gaming cards from NVIDIA. It's sometimes a little more affordable solution for them versus the Pro cards. We highly encourage NVIDIA Pro cards, but there is demand out there for the consumer or gaming cards to go in. And so there are some opportunities that you can purchase through HP gaming cards through and apply them to the Z1 tower configuring in the system. So other than that, the Z2 is where it's at in terms of the volume. It's by far the biggest volume out of all the desktop workstations. It covers the most ground. And of course, you have different flavors. If you value the mini, small form factor, getting larger in the tower. And on that arrow, for the Z4 and the Xeon, Z4 to Z8, it's all about expandability. When you're talking about towers, if that customer values multi-core, they value memory, they value the high-performing GPUs or multiple GPUs, that's when you're going into the a little bit more complex, less volume, but more of a solution cell for sure, up to the Z4, Z6, and Z8. I'll last close on the Z6. The Z6 is end of life, and the Z8 G5. So Z6 G5, Z8 G5, powered by the old Xeons, 2000, 3000 series, and up. The Z8 G5 can support 2 CPUs, so that's going away now. What we're able to do, there's more cores now with the Xeon 600 series, so it kind of eliminates the need to have dual CPUs. And then HP, of course, with the new design on the G6i, on Z4, Z8 Fury, they made the Z4 G6i a little larger to kind of take over that Z6 G5 space where you needed that more expandability. So with the chipset, it's more expandable with the Z4. And of course, the Z8 Fury has a lot of new opportunities with AI development and a nice solution in terms of just that local solution versus the data center solution. So great opportunity in there. We're not going to talk much time again on the desktop workstation. So I want to talk about what's going to move the needle for you guys in the short term, and that's more the entry workstation solutions. Okay, so forgive me if you know some of the, I know some of you guys the knowledge is there, but I want to make sure I level set you guys on where to hunt for the workstation opportunities in terms of the addressable market. The majority of that volume is in engineering. So my biggest tip, right, is if you're going to be selective, get yourself more introduced, whether it's public sector, Fed, education with STEM. A lot of it's kind of also through engineering as well. Of course, the architects, engineers, construction is AEC. Product design, so you have designers. It's anything with CAD, 2D, 3D designs, simulations. That's the biggest market. So that's almost 70% of that market. So there you can tie yourself to, what are the most popular ISVs? These are the buzzwords when you're talking to a customer. You ask them, what software do you use? Well, I use AutoCAD. Instantly, that's, hey, I have a Z2 solution for you, or a Z8 G2i. Let's start talking about that. So that's the largest market. And if you have opportunities, if you want to sit down with the D&H team and myself to kind of understand, hey, how can we go to market strategy together? More than happy to help you with that. That's one of the ones thing, the reasons, my role is what we bring to the table that's kind of new and different beyond just training and sales enablement. And then you can see the second largest, media and entertainment. You can see also here on this slide, guys, it kind of gives you it's not the go ahead 100% slam dunk answer, but it does kind of have the recommended solution from Intel. So you can see on the engineering, the majority of that's covered with the Intel Core Ultra 2, which is the Arrow Lake, the G1i, or the Panther Lake 300 series, the G2i. So G1i, G2i, it's a great solution for that AEC, product design, manufacturing. And media entertainment, it all depends. There's different flavors. There's a lot of creators. If you ever have multiple PowerPoints on your PC, you can call yourself a creator. If you're in marketing, if you're doing any presentations, a lot of high-end Excel, well, not Excel, that's more the productivity, but a lot of us are kind of creators, if you will, even prosumers, if you have a nice little hobby. That's where there's an opportunity for that entry. But more if you're talking about really hardcore media and entertainment in the film industry, post-production, pre-production, that's when the Xeon 600 and those higher-end solutions really excel. And then I won't go on to the others. It's all kind of spread out, but obviously finance is big. Software engineering is big time, especially with the AI growing more popularity. And speaking of AI covers all these, right? So if you look at these industries and overlay where is AI impacting, here's just a few examples that you'll see in each respective vertical. So, engineering, it's all about the generative design. So you're utilizing the AI and the NPU and the processor, the memory, the GPU, get more predictive modeling. So it's helping with the whole design concepts and a little boost in that acceleration as well. Media entertainment, it's all about consolidating old images, come up with the new image. So a lot of awesome fraud detection in finance, drug discovery, and the scientific. Scientific's actually kind of growing. It was 5%, but it's starting to grow out, as you can imagine, with AI on the new capabilities that are available in these new Z workstation solutions. So it's, of course, AI is touching everything, and the new solution with Intel through the G2i and the Furies, the HX series, it's well positioned to take advantage of the AI as it continues to scale. Okay, so this slide here, I have a couple arrows missing. That's on me. I apologize, but we'll talk through this. I just went through. This is the pyramid. This kind of shows you again that addressable market. So it's kind of a new way to look at it. At the very high end, it's that complex Intel Xeon, the AI Pros, that media and entertainment I was talking about. As you move down the stack, now you're getting more into the larger opportunities, the workstations for everyone. In the blue sections, right, I just talked about the designers, the engineers, AEC. In the middle is those creators that need a little bit more. So you're kind of just going down. Again, there's no right answer. It's all about the level of that workflow, the complexity of it. You can kind of ask those questions. And that's where you decide where maybe in the middle, it's a ZBook Fury, it's a ZBook X, or down and further below, it's more entry, 2D. That's where you're more of that ZBook 8 with the Intel Core Ultra type of solutions that's available on Z2 or the Z8 and ZX. And then also it's slide missing. We'll get these out to you with this, so it's a little bit better to articulate here. But the understanding is also a component of that is AI increases, and that typically goes from that entry to more memory, to more dedicated discrete graphics, all the way up to that Xeon and the engines, the AI development engines built into the new Xeon 600. And then also the level of GPUs. So it's the complexity just rises. It's the orange section, guys, that I'm going to spend a little bit more time on that we do not overlook. Don't sleep on the orange section that kind of falls out of the traditional AEC, product design, media and entertainment. These are just power users, knowledge workers, collaborators. You might just hear what they're thinking. You're immediately positioning an elite book, a mid or a premium high-end laptop, commercial laptop. We really highly recommend you consider leading with a Z8 at the very least, or a Z2 on the desktop solution. Every company has a handful of workstation users, but every company also has hundreds of power users. So you see a little quote there. And that's really the growth opportunity that I want to make sure you're comfortable with taking away here with these new processors on the Z8. I'll round it out just by saying, here's an example of when you're talking to the customers on what are they doing and kind of what's a great recommendation for an Intel Core Ultra Series 3 versus a Xeon. And again, this isn't just black and white, but it's a nice starting point. You know, if they value their productivity, their collaborator, they value the AI, new AI capabilities that are coming out. That's typically that ZBook. So you have that, they utilize the NPU, Copilot Plus PC, the CPU, the integrated GPU, they're on the go capabilities, they're more linear type of agentic tasks. That's where it's just that entry. And then of course, as you get more into that local AI, away from the data center or a hybrid model and the opportunities there with multiple GPUs, kind of more training, anything AI development, that's where you're flipping more to like, okay, we really highly recommend like a ZBook Fury with the HX desktop processor in a mobile, or for sure a Xeon 600 on that new Z4 or Z8 Fury G6i. And then I paint a little more pictures here with the product design. You just need it's a matter of cores. Are you doing linear things? And you're thinking a lot of these processors, if you look at the solutions and the specs, it goes kind of, then there was that left to right. It starts with, there's 8 core type of solutions, all the way up to 24 core in that mid-range, all the way up to 86 core with the new Xeon. So it's all about cores and utilizing what's multitask, multi-threading. Are you doing linear things? You can see it's just 4 cores, 1 to 2 cores from AEC. That's why a nice ZBook 8, ZBook X is a great solution, or Z2 Mini, powered by Intel. But also keep in mind, oh, it's 1 to 2 cores, I just need 8. No, you have to think about 24 cores sometimes, because they're running one process. If you're designing something, they'll run it, and then they'll move on to the next thing, run that. So it's kind of some parallel processing that they're doing. That's where the multiple cores are really taking advantage of. And again, if you're a power user, it's not so much about the cores, it's a matter of taking advantage of the value of a mobile workstation, which again, I'll touch on. So it just kind of breaks up the two. I hope you guys appreciate this, but it's hard to articulate a little bit because nothing's a slam dunk black and white answer, but it's a nice little lead in to when to position one or the other. Okay, I won't get into, I hope you guys appreciate there's not too many stats and specs, numbers on here, feed speeds. We want to stay away from that. But the takeaway on that we're going to lead into is really want you guys to talk about the G2Is, like I said, moving forward here. The timing is right here. D&H has stock on the G2Is, both of these that I mentioned from Channel Express perspective, couple smart buys. So they're starting to be stocked. There is also an advantage, I would say, versus going like Lenovo, Dell in terms of stocking. I do not see Lenovo and Dell with their new Panther Lake workstations out there being stocked. So I think HP has an advantage right now with the market. So you can see gen over gen, and I know you've been on these and you've heard how amazing Panther Lake is. So I'm not going to go into that. I'm going to save you guys some time. I'm going to double click on the Intel Arc graphics, because obviously that's a huge workstation opportunity and a lead in to why you should the position and what's new and exciting to talk about, because there are some new CPU badges to kind of get familiar with. So the Intel Arc Pro, I'll tell you the good, better, best and how to position those coming up soon. But big improvements in that. Of course, I talked about Intel Arc has a very good track record, reliability with the ISVs. So the certifications are all there. And then, of course, there's been updates as well, those AI engines that's been part of that NPU with the GPU. So when it comes to AI ISVs, there's a lot of been updates with the NPU, working with the GPU, with the CPU, and that nerdiness behind it, if you will, to make that very kind of optimized for AI, not just using AI, but if you're developing AI. So we'll talk about the pro graphics. And then I always like to make sure to remind folks, guys, of course, we're talking a lot about the Intel CPU, but That goes beyond. Intel has the solutions in the HBZ mobile workstations. Of course, Thunderbolt, all created through Intel with Apple. So Thunderbolt 4 or 5 is available. Of course, you have Intel Wi-Fi, now Wi-Fi 7. It's the leader, it's the standard leader. So you have to think about that. And of course, the manageability, the vPro, security, it comes a long way. So put all that together. These are all Intel solutions. You're not going with a third-party Wi-Fi network card. It's all Intel. So it's all advantages. And again, it's best in class when it comes to connectivity. Okay, this is my only slide that it has some geeky specs on it here, I promise. I hope I promise. But it's all about the Intel Arc B390. That's going to be the top of the class integrated graphics, game-changing graphics. Intel's always had integrated graphics on their Arrow Lake or the gen before that. Nothing's changed. Desktop workstations too. That's great for just the, if you for that regular user low end type of workflows, it's going to be just fine. Power users, perfect. But the Intel Arc B390, there's a good, better, best that I'll hit on. But you can see a little badging there. It's called the Intel Core Ultra X9 and X7. So these are new badges, and this is how you identify the best integrated graphics that's available through HP and Intel. You'll also hear about XE cores. These are just the dedicated engines. You can see that little picture in the middle of the chip. That's that dedicated cores for the GPU. It can go up to 12, scale from 4 to 12. We'll cover that together. But that's what's really bringing in, it's kind of separating from the old generation to the new. Again, it's game changing. I know we've had it before and said, hey, Intel graphics are great. These are truly are, and I'll show you the difference when you're comparing it to a discrete graphics card. So let's get into it. Here is a little guide chart that's available. So the kind of that low end at the bottom with the Ultra 5s, stacking all the way up to that X9. So a couple things I want to highlight for you guys, if you don't mind just walking through here. You'll see that there's at the end of the numbers is an H, or some of them do not have an H. The ones that do not have an H are kind of the old gen, the Arrow Lake. They would have a U at the end. Intel dropped the U. That just meant kind of more like, think of it as ultra efficient. And H just means, think about it as high efficiency or high performance, I should say. So H is high performance. 5 or without the U or no without the H, it's just more about the value of less cores. The customer values battery life. So they want the performance of a mobile workstation, the more power, but they really value battery life. That's where you'll have the non-H opportunities. Another tip, HP offers more of these CPUs, the Panther Lakes, on their ZBook 8 than Lenovo or Dell. So that's where it's a solution, truly a solution for everyone. And allowing the non-H SKUs on the ZBook 8 brings a great opportunity for you to lead with Z, and the benefits of leading with Z for your customers as a trusted advisor, standardization, the reliability, the performance that they're going to get for just a few more dollars. And you'll be surprised the difference between like an EliteBook and a ZBook. So I highly encourage you guys to look at that and start to think about, how can I lead with Z? We're going to touch on it at the end of here. The other things to talk about, obviously, you can see if it's designated with vPro versus the non-vPro. That speaks for itself. It has vPro or does not. And then the X7 versus the X9. That's that, think of it as extreme graphic performance. And you can see the different core counts as you move up the stack. What do you value? And then on the GPU, that purple section, so we have CPU, NPU, the GPUs, that's where you see that in the middle, the total XE cores. You're going from 4 is the standard, 10 is better, 12 is going to be your best. And so that's how you get the designation with its Intel graphics versus Intel Arc B370 versus the B390 or Pro B390. So you can see what's offered on what. I do have to answer the question that comes often. Why does the ZBook X G2i not have the new X7s, X9s? And that's because those customers value discrete graphic performance. they just need that graphics. It's just not a value. We don't recommend that the X has the integrated graphics. It just doesn't make sense for that price point and what they're trying to do with the ZBook X. So that's a walkthrough. And then in terms of a takeaway on a little bit more on that, how to position, you can see when it comes to these integrated graphics, the 4xe ones, I kind of list the CPUs here for you that are 4xe. Those are going to get, you're not going to get the ISV certifications on those. It'll come at a very great price point when you look at the CPU, of course, or if you don't need a discrete card. It's a good enough. It's great for that PC upsell or that lead with Z standardizing if they're a productivity type user or that power user, what we're going to talk about. In the middle is that better. It's actually on one processor, the Ultra 5 338H. And then on the best, there's a 3 varieties that are on the Intel Arc Pro B390 that you can capture. If your customer wants that discrete card, in terms of that performance, you're going from left to right, the performance that you're going to get improves from left to right. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Overall, probably the best solution for that ZBook 8, if they value performance, is going to be with the NVIDIA RTX Pro 500 Blackwell. And so obviously you don't want to sell and position your customer a CPU that has the higher end integrated graphics. Position them with the 4xe CPUs that I list there with the discrete card. That just makes sense overall for your customer's budget and what they're trying to do. Don't want to mix. You can have an integrated graphics and discrete, but it's just kind of a waste of the money. Okay, I do have one benchmark for you. This just kind of shows you, this is taken the X7 358 that's available, so that's a Panther Lake, versus the Arrow Lake added with a discrete graphics, the RTX Pro 500 Blackwell, which has Blackwell's 6 gigabytes of onboard video memory. But you can see here the takeaway, the green is just normalizing the performance of the system with the NVIDIA card. And we are at par with the integrated graphics, the Intel Arc Pro graphics. We're at par, or if not a little better, in a lot of these benchmarks. And these benchmarks cover a little variety of ray tracing, AI, if you're in energy, life sciences, and of course, design workloads. So there are some advantages. It all depends also, of course, on what ISV app you're using. This is just one example for these benchmarks. But the takeaway is you get a lot of value in performance. I don't have a slide here. I'll just speak to it. This is very important. You can save almost up to $400 going with the integrated graphics, the Intel Arc Pro with an X7, X9 versus a price of a Channel Express that has the NVIDIA card. So you're saving that customer almost $350 to $400 list price. So it can vary, but let's just say on average $350 you're saving. That customer can do a lot, right? So they're going to be fat and happy with that integrated graphics. They're saving some money. They can actually choose to get more memory with that they're saving with the integrated graphics. They can upgrade to a better display, 2.5K display. So there's a lot obviously you can do with that in the budget. It's a great solution for a small or medium type of business that wants that performance, but values a little bit more on the value of that performance. So it's a great story. So before we move into kind of the selling workstations, kind of the power users, I'd like to poll the audience here. Here's the question. Why do you think, if you guys were not aware, some of the best selling Channel Express models out there, smart buys, are very low end. Core Ultra 5s, it's the 16 gig, 512 storage, Intel integrated graphics. Why do you think that is? Why are we selling so many low end mobile workstations or desktop workstations? So please, if you don't mind, take some time to answer this. There's no wrong answer. But I'd like to know what you think is the most valued out of this question. And Shawnee's, Erica, the D&H team, I don't see like that folks are answering, so I hope it's working. I'm just
You
gonna.
have 5 out of 19 right now, so
Oh, okay,
we
okay,
need quite a few more people to respond to our
okay. That's
poll.
good. I saw it on the last question. I don't see it this time, so maybe that's okay. But if you don't mind, just I'll just give it 30 seconds, and I'll fast forward here.
Yep, we're a little over 50% right now.
Oh, okay, great. Yeah, it's truly amazing. Now, as I talk a little bit more, these low end configs, and this isn't like a last year's data. It's still very strong. It's amazing. I mean, obviously with education, K-12, public sector, these guys are really getting it. The sales team, the reseller, you guys, the partners, you're doing a great job positioning why a workstation. So we're getting a lot, and a lot of those customers, public sector, are buying the lower end. But
Yep,
it's those
and you're
power
good to move
users.
forward, Jerry.
Okay, let's move forward. Okay, so everybody kind of knew this, so they're seeing it out there. They know what they're selling. They find it more reliable. Yes, that's a great answer. Better performance. Same specs, better performance. I'm so glad that the majority hit that one. The life cycle and supply, that's huge. If you're not aware, workstations usually gets the priority if there's a limited amount of supply, whether it's CPUs, memory, storage. Workstations they're over indexed. They get their fair share because it's all about the value of those high-end customers. We need to cater to those. So they tend to get the priority of the supply, and the life cycles they're longer and more stable. All right, and then standardization. So they're all the right answer. So I appreciate you guys spending time with that. Let's get into a little bit on, if you're not aware, it sounds like you're a little bit comfortable, but we're comparing now our own backyard with HP. We have the EliteBook 8 G2 series, 14, 16 inch, doesn't matter. We have that on the ZBook 8 G2i, 14 and 16 inch. So it's all about those traditional workflows we kind of covered when you're, typically you think of for a mobile, for a high-end desktop or a mobile work or a laptop. But we need to make sure we change those conversations instead of asking, hey, I was told on this webinar I should ask, do you need a workstation? Really, obviously go into it of ask these questions, whether whoever the decision maker is, right? Do you know who your power users are? What apps consume the most resources? Are there any complaints about slow systems, loud fan noises? Do you value that? Do you want these systems to be productive, not just a year or two? Workstations are designed to run 24/7, 300 all day, 365 days a year. Do you want that productivity for 3 years and beyond? So you get a better ROI. And then, of course, what users are critical to business operations. These are the ones that these discovery questions. It really points to why you should lead with a Z. So don't sell workstations. Solve the productivity problem is the advice that we're having with these solutions. And this is just the takeaway that kind of leads into that question. Again, spec to spec can be the exact same, but the performance will be better on a ZBook 8 G2i. And why is that? That's because, even though it's the same specs, the CPU, memory, storage, everything's the same, the mobile workstation will most often performs noticeably better because it's designed to let those components, the CPUs and the components, operate at a higher sustained power level. So you can see on the processors here, I talked about those U series. That's that step up. It's great for everyone. It's a better priced CPU solution on that ZBook. It doesn't have that H designation. It's lower wattage, but with a mobile workstation, guys, think about it. The workstations, a ZBook 8, it's meant to have high-end memory. It's supposed to have that discrete graphics. It's just built with more power in mind. The ceiling is higher, right? So you get 65% faster, or in those mid, the H series, 51% faster. The X7, X9, it shrinks a little bit because the wattage is kind of capped regardless. So, but wattage, the total TDP, total draw power, it's all there. So allows you to sustain higher watts under high pressure workloads. So it won't limit your CPU to lower watts. So also what that means, it's better thermals is obviously coupled on top of that. You won't hear those fan noises. So it leads into why you should maybe consider standardizing on a ZBook 8 as much as you can. So you have those pockets of engineers, or the AI, the analysts in a company's organization, but executives, the power users, it really fits the mold. So we really want you to take advantage of that. Take advantage of the integrated graphics, the new X7, X9, and the money and the performance that you can save on that. So we can go, that was just a little taste. We can go into that a little bit more offline, go through your D&H rep. Happy to sit down with you. I'm going to close the call, just not forgetting about our friends, the desktop workstations. That Intel Core Ultra, the lead with Z1, Z2, that story and opportunity is still there for those entry desktop workstations. I just want to introduce you real quick because it's new and exciting from the HP Z lineup, that Z4 G6i and Z8 Fury G6i. Let's not forget why we have those high-end compute systems, the big towers, and new opportunities, like I mentioned, like AI at the edge, right? So right here locally, the advantages you get with running if AI development, tokenomics, right? You're sick of paying for that data center. You just want to have it locally, and the security advantages of that. That's why these systems can hold 4 very high-end graphics. This is why they're expanded. The Xeon chipset allows for now more higher memory, more capacity for storage. It's all, and then of course some engines built in with the Xeon. So there's new opportunities besides just the traditional workstation workflows why they require a high-end tower. So just a reminder, this is just a little pitch on the Xeon. Again, on the new G6i, these are shipping today. You can order through D&H. There are some Channel Express models on the Z4 G6i. There's not many because it's so customizable, but there are some nice solutions that's available, different flavors, depending on workloads, but up to 86 cores on the Z8. So big advancement on the core count on the Xeon. I talked about the vPros there. It's designed for AI development. Intel AMX extensions, these are just engines that are built in that are new to the Intel Xeon to help with AI development. And I talked about the value of the expandability. So you're not limited. These things are amazing systems, but they are a little niche. So please reach out to the HP expert, workstation expert, Intel expert to go a little bit more deeper on the Intel Xeon. Okay, I have to end. I'm going to wrap it up here with the, obviously when you're talking about the workstations through HP, there are more opportunities to earn. If you are qualified through the HP Curiosity platform, there are spiffs available on all the Intel ZBooks that I covered today. You can layer, that's $25 on the ZBook Channel Express Smart Buys. You can layer on top of that if you want a discrete graphics from NVIDIA, 20 to 50 to 100, depends on as you move up the stack, a good, better, best, or entry, mid, and high-end graphics. Again, you can only get the NVIDIA graphics on the mobile workstations with the Intel ZBooks, and then you can see what's available on the desktop workstations. And if you can sell more than 50 units, you have a little kicker, $500 spiff bonuses. That's the same, it carried over from last quarter. So if you're not familiar with that, you can contact D&H. They're happy to walk through the latest with the spiffs for HP's new quarter. So Shanice, with that, I'll end the call, maybe turn it over to you, and if there's any questions, we'll answer those.
Yeah, I have to say you did an amazing job because we actually don't have any questions. I think it's the first ever. I think you covered everything perfectly, and there's no questions about the information. They seem to understand it very well. If you guys do think of a question after this webinar, maybe I hit you a little bit later. Like I said, you can reach out to D&H here. I run the HP team, so you can reach out to any of us on there at hpi@dnh.com. Most of you probably have individual HP reps on my team that you currently deal with, and then you have inside sales reps here at D&H, and you can reach out to either one, and we will gladly help you. If you want to know where our inventory levels are, as Jerry stated, we do have a lot of G1 eyes available, and we have a lot of great deals on them right now. So highly recommend getting your hands on them while you can, because they are not here to last. They're gonna sell out quickly. So and then they're going to be gone forever, and we're going to be moving on to the G2s. So with that being said, reach out to us. If you have any questions of, opportunity of hanging out there, how can you make a G1? What's a better option? Maybe a G2, whatever the case may be. We can help you through with all those. If you have some customers that need some additional training on Intel, or you want to do a deeper dive with them, we can always bring Jerry in or some other people to talk to those customers, do customer trainings if you need, just so that we can go deeper with those customers if you want them to understand the Intel a little bit deeper. But other than that,